Welcome everyone to episode 127 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about Ari Aster's new film Eddington. Before we get into what we watched this past week, we'll just start by issuing an apology for the lack of an episode last week, which would have been the Eddington episode. Instead, we're doing that this week. We obviously had a choice between Eddington and Fantastic Four. And if you listen to this podcast, you probably understand why we're doing Eddington and not Fantastic Four. This past week was just a busy week for all three of us. I was on vacation, so I had no way to record this past week. And I know that Doug and Owen were both busy. And so they couldn't align their schedules. And now we're doing an episode a week late. So sorry for that. And warning for the future, because as we've talked about on the podcast before, Owen and I will be filming our movie in August, and so the schedule is just going to continue to get a bit messy. But
It's gonna only get worse from here.
we have soft plans in
We have a
place
plan. We have
to
a
work
plan.
around that. But I just want to issue that warning ahead of time, because in case something like this happens again, or in case things get messy in August, we want to apologize ahead of time, and hopefully when August is over, we can maybe maintain a normal, regular podcast schedule again, assuming that everything is back to normal afterwards. But just a messy couple weeks here, so bear with us. And other than that, we can talk about what we watched this past week, though I guess we'll make it a 2 week thing if we could keep it short and succinct. Doug, would you like to
Yeah.
jump in on that?
Yeah, I watched God, I didn't watch like anything, bro. I rewatched Sinners. Um
Okay.
the movie's good. And then I watched Eddington, which we're going to talk about. Then I rewatched Superman 1978, the Richard Donner picture. Just one of my, I mean, it's like one of those things where I watched as a kid, you know. So it's like it has like a real, but like nostalgia, kind of like where I was when I first saw it, kind of deal. But what a special movie, what a sick movie. And then I watched the Fantastic Four First Steps in Real D 3D,
Yeah.
which I'll say a couple words on.
Yeah, go
Quickly,
for it.
the Fantastic Four First Steps is an okay movie. That's
Okay.
that's my official stance. It's an okay movie. The beginning of that movie is fucking kind of super awesome. Like kind of like,
Okay.
oh wow, this is like the best Marvel thing I've ever seen in some ways. Uh, and then like the second act starts, or like I
Right.
guess like then like the end of the second act kind of starts, and then the movie is fucking boring and lame.
Yeah. I think I
But
saw a tweet with the same sentiment. I don't know if it was you or someone else, but I saw someone talk about how they thought they were about to watch a really good movie at the beginning,
yeah,
and that's exciting, I guess.
yeah, no,
One act of a MCU movie being really great is that's a high mark.
it really, well, like there's like this set piece where people online keep comparing the set piece to two other movies which are fantastic in their own ways. Which is like Interstellar. They keep comparing it to Interstellar, which is really obvious when you watch it too. But then a lot of people keep saying that it's very similar to The Wandering Earth, which is
Oh,
a really great movie as well. And the set piece is just like it's like the best MCU set piece, and it's kind of not even close. It's like the Silver Surfer is surfing on the event horizon of a black hole, like her like actually surfing on it, and she's chasing the Fantastic Four who are in a spaceship, and Sue Storm is giving birth in the event horizon of the black hole while the Silver Surfer is chasing after them, surfing on it. It's crazy. It's insane.
yeah. I
Um,
did see something about that. I've been trying, not that I like really care about Fantastic Four spoilers, but I've been trying to just not read about the movie at all. Maybe because I just don't care about it at all. But I keep seeing people talking about the scene where she gives birth. I assume that happened later in the movie, but it just happens
it happens
at
like
the beginning.
25 minutes into this movie.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
and it's like it's like super interesting, like visually interesting, super awesome, like super unique. And then the rest of the movie is like fucking whatever. Who gives a fuck?
I
Yeah.
see.
So that's my Fantastic Four review.
Nice. Is that everything that you watched?
That yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, and you can jump into it.
Yeah, I watched the newest Hong Sang-soo film, What Does That Nature Say to You? And it might be my favorite of his. It's kind of it's the first, like, good portion of the movie. I'm like, "This is the funniest movie ever," and then, like, the movie ends, and I'm like, "This is sad." Like, this is, like, it, like, kinda left you, like, really emotional, and the more I watch these films, the more, like, emotional or, like, emotionally charged they are kind of are for me. This one's really great. It's starts with this kind of very people have been, doing, comparisons to James Benning's, United States of America, where that is a film where the camera's in the back of the car and it's it's got a so this very similar it starts with a shot very similar to that, and then it's this guy and his girlfriend, and he hasn't met his girlfriend's parents, and he's dropping his girlfriend off and he by accident, like, he's not planning to meet the parents, but he ends up meeting the parents, and it's this whole, like, comedic kind of thing where it's this the boyfriend of 3 years hasn't met the family, and he's like meeting the family, and it's this awkward
It's like
chain
Meet
of
the
events.
Fockers.
Yes, yes, yes. And but it's like it's a super simple, funny kind of setup for a movie. And then it's like this super kind of emotional Hong Sang-soo movie. Really fantastic stuff. Really love that movie. Uh then I watched Right Now Wrong Then, which is another really great Hong Sang-soo. This is from 2015, so 10 years ago. And this one's also really interesting. It's has a there's a it's a filmmaker and I think a painter, and the filmmaker meets the painter and they go and they have this little day together, and it doesn't really go well. And then the second half of the movie is like this like imagined alternate version of those moments. So like you're replaying the scenes, and they're slightly shot a different way. The things they say are slightly different. It kind of goes a little differently. And then that's the movie. There's just like two uh it's basically the one part and then that part again. I think on the I forget which the way they put it. On like there was like it's a right now wrong then, and then there was like uh right then wrong now, whatever, there's like two different split sides of it. That movie's fantastic as well. And then I watched On the Beach at Night Alone, which is like his most popular on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's good. It's good. It's probably my least favorite of like the 8 or whatever I've seen of him. Really great movie, just not uh as insane of like or just,
Right.
it just didn't hit me as hard as some of the other ones I've seen. But I've seen, all of them have been great that I've seen. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Out of I know you've seen this one, Kevin, right? I think this
Yeah,
is
that's the only one I've seen.
yeah,
Yeah.
really good movie. I just the ones I've seen are better. Um,
Right.
but I've
And I
also
plan on
seen like
watching
a
that.
lot of the ones I've seen, like the ones people like really like. Uh, but he also has like 34 movies. So I'm sure there's gonna be ones I like less than that. But out of the 8 I've seen, they're all fantastic. And then I watched Happy Gilmore 2 to round out
Right.
the Hong
Oh,
Sang-soo movies.
So when's the last time you watched the original Happy Gilmore?
I probably haven't seen it fully. I mean, it's one
Okay.
of those movies
Like
that
at
like
all.
no, I've like I know like bits, like it would be on TV growing up, or
Right.
like someone else would be watching it, and I would be like in the room, so like I'm aware of the movie and like
yeah.
some of the jokes and
It's
stuff.
like just about a baseball player that plays golf. Yeah. Right.
Hockey.
So
Oh, hockey. Whatever. Same thing.
yeah, I don't like
Not really.
I don't have any attachment to Happy Gilmore.
Well, do
And
you have
I
an attachment to
the
the Happy
Sandman.
Go? Yeah, the Sandman. What's his production company?
Oh, Happy
Billy
Happy
Madison.
Madison.
Happy Madison. Yeah. Do you have a production like a?
No. Well, I like, I remember liking, bedtime stories growing up. I think that one's
Oh
cute.
That's
god.
such a random one.
No, there
But
could be more random ones.
I
I mean,
think
that
that
was,
one's
like,
kind
very
of fun.
beloved by a
I think
certain
that one's kind of
generation.
fun. But I wasn't like a grown-ups kid, or like I wasn't crazy into them. But
Yeah.
I do think Adam Sandler is a talented person, and I
Oh,
think
of
he's
course.
cool. Very bizarre career, because it's very because when he's in Uncut Gems or whatever. And I want to watch. He's in a there's a Noah Baumbach
Oh, it's
film.
good. I've seen that one.
That
I forgot
one
what it's
with
called.
Ben
Yeah.
Stiller.
The
Yeah.
Meyerowitz
Yeah,
story,
yeah. I
right?
Yeah.
wanted to check out that one because I wanna have seen all the ones that are like remotely real.
Like all
Yeah.
the real movies he's been in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think
The, like, 4 of
I
them
do think
out of,
he's
like,
like
50.
he's like one of our he's one of our great comedic talents, and it's like I think when he's in a good thing, it's like it's great. So yeah,
Yeah.
but Happy Gilmore 2 is very bizarre. I've seen some people kind of digging it, and I'm sure there's a lens there. But I wasn't
I've
crazy about
seen
it.
we have some friends that gave it like half stars that
No,
were
that's
like
also true.
yeah.
Also true. I wasn't planning on checking it out,
Woke mom.
but I was kind of interested in it as a thing that's happening because it is like the most popular movie uh outside of like Fantastic Four right now, like or Superman. Like it's probably the third movie. It was like trending on Twitter. Everyone was talking about it. All these people were like,
Yeah.
"Happy Gilmore 2 is the worst movie I've ever seen." I think Frank Kaminsky, shout out Frank Kaminsky, he said that on Twitter. Um, yeah, it's I don't. So that's the problem is I don't remember the original enough to like kind of get the tone, but the movie has some like really crazy shit happens in the movie where like people die and people go to jail and like people are in mental hospitals
Doesn't
and shit.
Eminem get eaten by alligators or something?
Yeah, like great like Benny Safdie is like the villain of the movie. It's
What?
ridiculous.
What?
It's insane. So I don't have enough like memory of the first one to compare it to, but it did feel like a lot of like out of left field like craziness.
Some craziness in the first one, but it mostly
But
happens, I
like do
guess, in,
people
like
like are people like going to jail and dying?
no, it's mostly that, like, I guess, like, there's kind of, like, dream sequences where, like, things are, like, weird and wacky in the first
Mhm.
one, but they're not,
There
like
are some dream sequences in this.
yeah. And
Um
technically someone does die in the first one,
okay.
but,
From like
like, a
because
pretty
of
important
Happy? Like does
character.
Happy kill somebody in the first
Yeah,
one?
well, yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Remember Carl Weathers' character, like, has,
He
like,
kills
the
Carl Weathers?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
he,
god.
like, die it's a whole thing, never mind.
Um,
Just but yeah, technically someone does die.
yeah, but I feel like I mean, it is kinda, like, tonally similar to, like, just the rest of the Happy Madison stuff. It's a lot of, like, jokes don't land, but then, like, also it's like there's some stuff where it's like, "That wasn't funny," but that was so, like, dumb or ridiculous that it's kind of funny. There's, like, a billion celebrity cameos. Travis Kelce gives, like, the worst performance of all time in it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
Taylor Swift said the movie was a 13 out of
he
10.
did say that.
Yeah.
I think Bad Bunny is kinda good in it.
Bad
Um,
Bunny, he
He's in,
has
upcoming movies as well,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
so
Bad Bunny's got it, bro.
yeah.
I wasn't crazy about him in Bullet Train, but it's also like it was
Right.
Bullet Train.
Yeah.
He's probably giving the best performance in this movie.
Isn't Bad Bunny
Like,
in
Um,
the
he
new
like,
Darren
out of
Aronofsky?
anybody?
he's in the new
Sorry, you
deal.
were
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's I mean the competition isn't that crazy. Benny Safdie's bad. Like
Right. Is
I
Adam
like
Sandler bad?
he's Adam like he's giving his normal performance that he would do in like Grown Up. So you know it's not like
Yeah.
any I don't know it's expected Adam Sandler performance. Yeah, I don't know, weird movie. I don't have too much else to say about it. But yeah, Benny Safdie, bizarre stuff. Bizarre stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
I'm still very excited to watch that movie. I have a feeling I'll like it.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
I'm sure. I don't
I
know.
love the original Happy Gilmore. Like, that is, like, to
No,
me,
I
that is,
well,
like, my comedy that I grew up
a
on,
lot of people
probably.
are like being like, Happy Gilmore, my favorite movie. This is like, I don't know. People are being
Yeah.
very
No,
dramatic
I
about
imagine that I've seen
it.
people who like the first one saying this one is bad, so it's
Yeah.
possible that I hate it, but,
Happy Gilmore is like
it's
that's the Adam Sandler movie you have like an
Oh,
emotional connection
yes.
to. Okay.
Like, without a doubt. Out of
one
all,
thing
like,
I
his,
will
like,
say
comedies, yeah,
is
for
I did
sure.
see this on Twitter, and then when watching the movie, it was probably even more jarring. But people talking about like the comparison from how the first one looks and how this one looks, and the movie does this thing, which is like I guess commonplace now in these like legacy sequels, or I mean, maybe not commonplace, but you'll see it, where it will like reference something that happened in the first movie and then show a clip from the previous movie. It probably does this like 15 times. where like a guy will show up and like make a joke, and then it will like show this joke from the first movie. And that in itself is like awful, but like I think what I was talking on Twitter is just like the how good the first movie looks, or like that was a standard for like a movie of that size just look this good, and then it cuts to like this very Netflix like ugly ass movie, um, and to just put like the old movie in your new movie and compare and contrast how like awful it looks in comparison is
Yeah.
but yeah, it does that where like a guy will show up and then it'll like show a clip from him like so like you remember who it was. It's pretty crazy.
Right.
But
Uh,
yeah, shout out Legacy sequel, Happy Madison movie.
Better than Top Gun Maverick?
No, no. Some people are saying this.
I
is
know,
that where
that's
your
why I know.
weekends, Owen?
What?
Is that where your weekends?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I had a similar Legacy sequel experience this past 2 weeks. I guess like I said, I went on a trip, so I didn't watch much the second week of this 2 week long break. But the first week, I watched the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, which the kind of a boring movie as far as like slashers go. The one thing I
Yeah, it's
noticed
not
about it was
great.
just like the one thing I noticed was just that like back then, and this is true of like many movies, but it's like they used to just like make like trashy movies and they still just like look decent, you know? Like they would make like shitty movies and still like the lighting was great and like it's like shot confidently and you're like, "Oh, like you could just like make shitty studio movies and still like do the bare minimum." And like it's kind of appealing. Um that doesn't really happen anymore.
Does not happen anymore.
And to like jump ahead in my week, I did watch the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is worse than the original, I think by like uh kind of not like
People
a
are saying it's
significant margin,
really bad.
Have you seen the
but it
sequels?
no,
I
so
heard the sequels were really bad.
Oh,
I've
so it's also be really
I've seen
bad.
the first sequel, I should say, the second movie a long time ago. I was going to rewatch that one, and I was like, this is just not a franchise I care enough about to rewatch
Yeah.
multiple movies before the new one. And I've never seen the third in that trilogy, which I hear is like just one of the worst movies ever made. But yeah, the
Yeah.
new one, it's just like kind of all the same problems as the original, where it's like it's just too boring. Like the world of it's just like not like
Yeah.
you just can't really make a movie. Well, you can make a movie with this stuff hypothetically, but it doesn't seem like they know how to. And I'm just like, it just gets boring really fast. Like it's like the characters are in both movies, in both the original and the new one. The characters are just like fucking whatever. The killer that the movie is based around is kind of just a whatever thing.
What is it
And
what is
what
it
were you gonna say?
missing that the Scream Legacy sequels have?
That's what I was gonna say. I think that like on a on a base level, like Ghostface is a compelling enough killer to like build a franchise around.
Yeah.
This franchise like doesn't have like a thing to their killer. It's just like it's like stupid. It's like a guy with like a hook hand. Like there's no real like iconic thing
Yeah.
attached to it, and then there's also no real like motive from movie to movie attached to it.
Okay.
Whereas, like in Scream, you're just like, yeah, Ghostface can just carry a franchise. Like Ghostface is just like intriguing. Like you're gonna be bare
Yeah.
minimum entertained every single time. The original in this franchise is not entertaining, so you're never gonna like get there.
Yeah.
And it's like weird. There's like concepts that I'm like, oh, this is intriguing. Like the small town, like coastal stuff. I'm like, this is like there's something here, but it's all the wrong approach. It's just kind of boring. There's like the one thing I will say about this movie is that it has a number of like young rising stars for people to have varying degrees of stock in. Like I don't
You're
think
saying
any
that
of us.
Madeline Klein is the it factor, is what you're
So what I
getting
was
at?
going to say is that none of us have stock in Madeline Klein, I don't think, and I don't think this movie helps her stock. But two people, and then that Jonah Howard King guy who was in like The Little Mermaid and stuff is like a young actor to watch, I guess. I don't think any of us care about him either. But Chase Suey Wonders, I think we do care about. And Tyreek Withers, who is going to also be in him this year, is another person that I think we kind of have on our radars, I guess. I think we're at least intrigued by him. Him, the movie, but then also him, I guess, the actor. Uh, they're like Tyreek Withers is probably my favorite person in the movie. nobody really does good. Nobody really does good. Anyway, that's the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. I rewatched Miami Vice, banger. I watched Chilly Scenes of Winter, which Sophie was like Sophie texted me and she was like, I know I already asked you to watch this once, but I really need you to watch this. And I was like, normally when people recommend stuff to me, I just say like, oh yeah, I'll watch it, and I like put it on my watch list and never watch it. No offense to those people. But but Sophie's persistence convinced me. So when she texted me a second time, I was like, you know what? I'll set a reminder on my phone. I promise you I will watch it this week. And I did watch it that week. And you know what? It was really good. I was really happy I watched it. So maybe you should listen to your friends sometimes and watch movies that are good when they tell you they're good. Um, and then I watched A Good Marriage, which is a Romero movie that I liked quite a bit, but still like I guess lower tier for me, just like kind of lower tier characters in his movies that I've seen, and so it's like not as compelling as my favorites, but it's still very good. I watched Eddington, which we're going to talk about in a second, and another new release that I watched is one of my favorite movies of the year. Sorry, Baby. That movie was really nice. Like, I just like that movie. I like cried watching the trailer for this movie when it first released. I knew that like it had like pretty or like I should say really positive reviews coming out of festivals, and so
Yeah,
I
no,
was
that
like
was
excited for it
it played
before
at
I knew anything.
Sundance, and that was like the
Yeah,
movie to like that was the movie to come out of there. That was the
exactly.
all the
And then when the
rave.
trailer played, I was like, "Oh, this looks so cute." And like I was really on board. And then I saw it and I was like, "Wow, first of all, it's just like it's like the most effortless funny movie ever, which I love. Like it's like it is a serious movie, but like when they just like do little things and it just like makes you laugh and then makes you smile, I'm like, this is my kind of movie. I really like it. And it's a debut, so it's like it's very impressive for a debut. I liked it a lot. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. So if it's playing near you, which I know it is not the case for everybody, you should go see it because I don't think it'll be in theaters much longer. But it's worth it. And then I was in Maine for a week, so I really didn't have much time to watch stuff. We only managed to squeeze in one movie on a night where we had time, and that was Aaron Brockovich. We had a DVD player in the Airbnb, but it's like an old one, so I could only bring actual DVDs with me and not any of like my Blu-rays or anything. So I kind of looked at the shelf, and my girlfriend wanted to watch Aaron Brockovich, and I was like, sure, that seems like. And actually, it kind of matched the vibe of what the place that we were in. So I like Aaron Brockovich a lot. And that was I won't talk about Maine, but if anybody's planning on going to Maine, it's really pretty
It
over
was
there.
pretty, and Kevin liked it.
Yeah, it was very pretty. I will say, and I am part of this problem, obviously, but if you're somebody who's interested in going to Maine, it seems like based on what I've learned, the tourism gets worse and worse every year, and it was bad. Like in the area that we went to Acadia and like that whole
Oh
island,
yeah,
which
that's
includes
gonna
Bar
be a big.
Harbor. And like if you try to go on a hike in Acadia National Park, you better get to that hike at 6 in the morning if you want to get a parking spot. Otherwise, you're going to be doing laps looking for a place to leave your car. Um, but it's worth it. I mean, the views are gorgeous. It's very nice. Bar Harbor, it's like that's like a different thing. It's like if you want to be in like that like cute little town, that's even the parking there is even worse. We like found parking early, paid for parking for the whole day, and we would like keep walking back to our car. And every single time we went back to the car, there was just like a line of people like rolling down their windows, being like, "Are you leaving? Are you leaving?" And we were like, "No, this car is staying right here. Like I'm not leaving because once you lose the spot, it's over. Like you're just fucked."
Yeah,
So just plan ahead if you're gonna go to
yeah,
Maine.
nice tips.
But it's
Main
awesome.
tips.
It's
Write
very
those
cool.
down. Someone write those down.
Anyway, yeah, that was it. And then we could talk about Eddington. I will say, and I think this is the case for the two of you as well, is that since I went to Maine, it feels like I watched Eddington a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And I know you two have also been pretty busy, so we're gonna try to like talk about this movie as best as we can, not as fresh out of it as a normal podcast episode of ours. And this morning, I kind of tried to organize the episode for today, and I was like, this is a lot of movie. And so it's a really hard episode to organize. But I have some method of how we can talk about this. So before we get into all of the various ideas in the movie, I just want to start very simply by talking about Ari Aster, because then I have stuff split up. So let's start with Doug, because I think you're the biggest Ari Aster fan here. Can you attest to that?
Yeah, no, I like Ari Aster. I don't know. Every whenever I talk about it, I feel like a weird guy because it is like I do feel like I have some kind of bizarre like spiritual connection to him in the sense that whenever I watch one of his movies, I'm like, yeah, these movies are like really specific and annoying in a way that I feel like I am. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of like what
And
I
we
get
agree.
out of them. Where it's like even like watching Beau is Afraid, every single thing that happens in that movie, I'm like, man, I really totally get it. Like I totally get the decision to include this in the movie, and I feel it. Um, so I do feel like, yeah, I do really have a thing for Mr. Astor for sure.
Okay. And Owen, do you feel
I
similarly?
really disliked Beau Afraid. And I what kind of Doug is saying, where like there's this super hyper specific thing going on, and I think it's really I totally understand because there's a lot of negativity even towards this movie, and if it's like very easy to hate. There's stuff that he does that are like very easy to hate. And I just found some of his stuff earlier to not be that great, or stuff that just be annoying or whatever. But this movie, I remember when this was first kind of doing I don't know, maybe press, or I don't know. Ari was talking about the screen stuff, and he was like, "I wanted to get as many screens in the movie as possible. I was always trying to get more screens in the movie." And since he said that, I just can't find that quote or that tweet or whatever it was, because I remember wanting to tweet like the worst guy you know, like makes a good point, like that, like thing. I wanted to tweet that, but I don't think I ended up tweeting it, and I just can't find the original statement. But I really was fascinated by that thing that he was talking about, with wanting to get screens in there and his kind of approach on like a modern movie. And this is his like most or like least like fantastical, I guess. Like there's like a very I don't know. I feel like it's his most grounded. It's still crazy,
In a
right? Of
way,
course.
in a
It's
way,
crazy,
Other
but
movies
like
are like there's like
technically,
other
yeah,
movies are like horror, like I don't know, there's this has to be, right?
this movie is
technically I
really
could see.
ridiculous.
No,
Until
no, I'm not saying it's not ridiculous, but I'm just like
yeah, in the sense where it's
there
like
was a penis
Hereditary has
monster
literally
last
like the
movie, and
devil
there
is in
was like
Hereditary,
Yeah,
that's
and the
what I'm
devil
exactly.
is
saying.
Like
not in
what
this
Like
happens in
movie.
I'm
Hereditary
saying
can't
there's
happen.
literal things that happen in his other movies that is just
Yeah,
not in this. So there
Yeah.
it did a thing for him. But yeah, I do think there's certain things that just made allowed this to work for me. And there's a lot more I liked out of this one.
yeah.
Um, and it was
Uh,
I think the comedy was more
Bro.
uh it's
yeah, we're
very
gonna talk.
funny.
We're gonna
I
talk
just found
about
it
that
more
for
Bro,
I just found it
sure.
very funny.
it's
Where like
so
the other
funny.
movies just didn't land for me as much.
We'll talk about that for sure. Owen, what's your because so you don't like all of the other three movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to
Well,
make sure.
it's
So
been a
this is the
minute,
first
but
one
I
you've
don't
liked.
yeah, I just like what's kind of I don't know. I'm there was stuff like it's not like there's some stuff in the other
You
ones
don't.
that I do
Yeah,
like, but I just don't the whole picture didn't really work for me. And I almost was waiting for something in this movie to happen that would just like annoy me. Because that's kind of like I think there's parts of Bo's Afraid that I am intrigued by, but then there's other
sure.
things that like really just like I don't like this or like this really like not bothers me, but just like kind of takes me out of it. Not even takes me out of it, just like uh I don't know what the word would be, but there's stuff that happens with me just kind of turns me off. I guess is the better phrasing
Sure.
for it.
Yeah.
But here I was kind of like waiting for something to happen that would be like, ah, okay, why did that happen? But the whole movie, I was like, oh no, this is I like this.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Uh, I I don't want to say I'm the middle ground between you two, but I don't think I love Ari Aster as much as Doug. I do agree that he's annoying, but perhaps in a way that I mostly really appreciate and have appreciated in all of his movies. I definitely there's not an Ari Aster movie that I dislike. So that's I guess the difference between me and Owen.
Your
But
favorite is like Midsummer, right? That's the one you
yeah,
really
so that's
like.
a weird thing where it's like
Yeah.
when that movie came out, I loved that movie, and in the years that have passed and the way that I've seen people talk about it, I've been scared to rewatch it because I'm like, "Oh." But, but until I rewatch it, I guess you could say it's my favorite. I don't know if I would say that because I just like I don't know if I have a favorite at the moment. I think the way that I've been thinking about them recently, and especially with how much I want to rewatch Eddington, it probably will be my favorite if I ever do get to rewatch all of those and stack them up against each other. But who knows when or if that'll happen. I like this movie a lot. I want to just get into everything that the movie's about. So I think
Well, that's kind
the
of a
way that
lot.
yeah, so the way that I've split up this conversation and organizing how we talk about this so that we could do this sort of succinctly is I split it up into two categories. I wrote down with a list of subcategories, but I wrote down what is Eddington about? Like we could talk about what we got out of the movie, and then I wrote down a list of common criticisms of Eddington for us to then either pick apart or maybe even agree with because I don't think I love every single detail of this movie, but I do the more I think about it kind of like everything. So I think it's complex. Let's start by talking about what we got out of the movie, what we think the movie is about, because it's about a number of things. So I don't know if either of you want to jump in with like the first thing or maybe what your biggest takeaway was.
Yeah, I recorded a solo podcast episode that will never exist or be seen. But my kind of big thesis that I was trying to do, I was poorly communicating this in that lost episode, but my kind of big thesis that I was trying to come to, that I was trying to wrap the whole movie up in, was that the whole movie is about white supremacy and how the forces of white supremacy affect everybody in America and end up serving nobody except for the the hidden elite, I guess is how you would say,
Mhm.
without sounding too insane, right? But that's
Yeah,
kind of like that is what I really got out of the movie, and I think that everything that happens in the movie kind of upholds that thesis.
yeah.
Um, I don't know what you guys
And
think.
spoilers ahead if you want to jump into details. We could make that warning now.
Um,
Um, I agree. I agree. That's one of the things I wrote down. I wrote down that, and I think going off of that point, it's also like I think partially like it's partially that like, and I think you definitely see it through Joaquin Phoenix's character Joe and like everything that he does in the movie. But I think it's also like feeling bad about it as well, where it's like and uh, to varying degrees, you know, like we see kind of multiple aspects of that, whether it's like Joaquin Phoenix's character Joe kind of feels bad about the way that he is being targeted by certain people and it leads him to do X, Y, and Z. But then there are also people who are like, I feel bad about it and I'm going to like let it be known that I feel bad about it because that makes me feel better about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And like, and I think one thing I wrote down is that like the movie is like less interested like one of the big ideas of the movie is even that it's like less interested in solutions to any of the things in the movie and more interested in just being like, this is what the current American zeitgeist is. Like, this is a mirror for all of you guys. And, uh, and in many ways, it's like, I do think the big thing is what's, the one thing that I started to take away more and more from it was that specifically was just like, this is what our present moment is. And then every other like little idea bounces off of that. And I think specifically, I don't know if other people are struggling with this, but I think specifically, I something that like immediately didn't connect in the movie with me was like what Ari Aster's intent was and like where he's coming from and like who he's trying to criticize. And I think partially because it's very easy to be offended by this movie and like it's very easy to see yourself in the movie and no, but like and we could get into it, but like but I do think I've seen like there's parts of the movie where it's like, yeah, I can relate to like the pandemic happening and then just like immediately going from like somebody who is like and it's not to say that like these people didn't already have these feelings, but like I could relate to the pandemic happening and like this like surge of like time on the internet and like all of the information that's being shown to you, and then immediately going from like being the like sort of less political version of myself to a week later being like, yeah, I love Angela Davis or whatever. Like it's like, yeah, I like totally. And it's like, and I do think that one of the big ideas in the movie is just like opportunism and like how specifically uh like your values and beliefs can be changed to like fit the mold that's best for you, where it's like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that I think is one of the big ideas where it's like like the one of the subplots I really like is these kids, like these are teenagers, I guess, who are like both interested in the same girl. And it's like if the opportunity presents itself for you to change your political views to impress somebody and like that benefits you the most and that like yields results, then that just will be your political view. In the same way that like later on in the movie for a young person, they can change their political views to the complete opposite end of the spectrum if it benefits them, and it does in all of these cases. So I think that's like kind of one of the big ideas I got out of the movie is like how rooted in our beliefs and values we actually are, or how much they are just shaped by like this is what we're being shown right now, and like this is how we're supposed to feel right now, and like this is what's good for me or what's good for anybody. And that
Yeah.
all kind of connects back to this white supremacy thing that you're saying, which is like how does that especially for white people, it's like how does this benefit me, like how can I like make this about myself a little bit. I don't know if you want to jump in with anything or if you have a different idea that you want to throw out there, Owen.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for this thing that Ari Aster said about, because there was one thing that he said about it was like people looking for answers, or I don't know what it was exactly, because I really liked what he said about that, about everyone kind of there's everyone kind of identifying issues. There's problems. There clear,
Yeah,
there's clear issues that's going on, but everyone's trying to kind of go at it. Everyone like trying to has their own, or looking for their own answers, and not really. I'd have to find the exact the thing that he thinks, but I really like that idea. But yeah, I don't know. There's I wanted to see it again, because especially as well, I've been a lot of other things on my mind, but I did when watching the movie, it was very interesting because I'm kind of trying to, it does do a lot of things where you're like kind of, I don't know uh what exactly he's saying here, but it's very interesting, and it's the most, because you brought up the mirror thing, and I think it's like the most like, this is very real modern movie, especially like that, there's like, especially
yeah,
even like with the phones and stuff, the YouTube stuff, where you'll see YouTube or phones in movies, and it will look slightly different, where it will look like, it'll be that universe's or that movie's version of YouTube or something. But there's like, there's a scene where Joaquin Phoenix is in the car and he's like watching a YouTube video, and it's just like it looks exactly like, if it was in a documentary, but that's what it looked like. You watching a YouTube video, and I appreciated that, because that ground, like that level of groundness, of like it being real, and also it didn't have its own versions of George Floyd or stuff like that. You just kind of use real life things that happened very recently that
yeah,
I really appreciated, because I think even if other movies would try to like use satire or try to like say something about current events or something, it would just use their own version of that. uh but I think there's a level of this movie that uh I really appreciated that aspect of it. But yeah, I don't know, it's still a movie that I'm trying to wrap my head around, because
yeah.
there's a lot of
I
movie.
I do think it's like that's another one of the big ideas is just that it's in the wider sense. This is just like a real tech driven movie. Like it is
Yeah,
about how our phones make us crazy. It is about how social media makes us crazy. And it is also like
it is
a
those
big,
goddamn
a big
phones.
thing, a big thing in the background of this movie is this like tech
Tech center,
company.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
what the
that
whole
is
movie's kind of about
yeah,
when you zoom out. Yeah, it's the AI center, the data center.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and just how like tech kind of controls like a lot of what's happening right now. And like I think we're not going to get into criticisms yet, but I think like people will kind of maybe like weigh certain things where it's like, oh, to dismiss like this thing that's going on by being like, oh, actually, the most pressing issue right now is AI or whatever, or
Yeah.
like tech or whatever. And it's like, this stuff does sort of dictate everything else. And I think this movie does a really good job of showing what it feels like to have everything else dictated by our relationship to screens and social media and everything else, right? Like I don't know. I mean, I think it's like a big part of the movie is like the isolation of like just like consuming stuff on the phone. And also the movie throws a lot of ideas at you, but that is like what it feels like to be on the internet, is to just
Yeah,
see
yeah.
everything all of the time.
Mhm.
And again, the movie doesn't give you solutions for a lot of these things, which people might be upset about, but it's also like the people who care about a lot of these things don't have solutions for them, or even if they do, they don't like actively pursue them, because it goes
Mhm.
along with like the opportunism I was saying, which is like it's only for your own personal gain, like whether or not you actually spend the time like caring about these things, or if you just like if you're just like, oh, the world is like I see how terrible the world is, and it's like everything's so fucked, what do I do? And then like the solution is nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Like uh I think that is like a real problem with our present moment when you're on the internet all the time, is just that like
Mhm.
a lot of people are aware of how everything is bad, and like the a lot of times the end result, and maybe some of the people being critiqued in this movie are people who like just choose to do nothing because it's overwhelming. And I think that is just like a factor of being on your phone all the time.
Yeah, it's a very like all of the characters in this movie are very insular and selfish,
Yeah,
and not really, even if they do, like for example, like there's Black Lives Matter protesters in this movie, right? And it's like
right.
they are correct in the sense that every single issue that they are protesting is real and directly happens in the movie, right? Like all of the things they're worried about are real, but they are not organized enough to handle the problem. And they also like their hearts and minds aren't even in the right place to handle the problems, because we see like this like incel guy that gets into it for the
Yeah.
wrong reasons because of this girl, and it's like he's so obsessed with his own whiteness and his guilt that he has,
Yeah,
that he's like he's not even focused on what the actual problems are, you know.
yeah.
And then he becomes Kyle Rittenhouse at the end.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to bring that up because
So
one
funny.
thing I was going to ask you, unrelated to all of this, was just like what you thought the funniest part of the movie was. And
It's
for
that.
me, like the biggest laugh was when it reveals him as like Kyle Rittenhouse.
No, that was
I
so
was like,
funny.
this is like an A plus joke.
Oh.
Um. Anyway, yeah. No, I agree with that. I guess another thing I wrote down is kind of related to the pandemic and like what this movie says about the pandemic. And I think specifically in this instance, it's more about how that like revealed what was already wrong with everything, as opposed to like creating some new issue. I do think like a lot of what the movie is saying is just that like the pandemic showed us how bad our miscommunication thing is. And it's like and social, and again with social media, it's like social media was always going to be a problem, but the pandemic locking us inside
Oh
and
yeah.
gluing us to our screens only made all of that stuff happen quicker.
Oh yeah, it
um
definitely accelerated a ton of stuff. I mean, the like the reason that Zoom and all that stuff is so more commonplace and just like day-to-day life is all because of that. I thought the because I remember when this movie was first announced, it was like this is Ari Aster's COVID Western, like, it's like this was a ridiculous thing. But I really
yeah,
loved how I just think of this like the one scene with Joaquin and Pedro Pascal, and it's kind of like this standoff, very Western thing, and he's like, "Oh, 6 feet." I think that's just like such a funny little joke that like
Yeah.
the little like stuff with the way that they used COVID, or like there's a scene, I think it's like the first scene, right, where or like second scene where they're the guys pull up and they're like, you gotta wear your mask, and the little like kind of interactions that happen because of COVID, and not even like little, like it doesn't have really anything to do with the actual kind of virus. It's more of the
Exactly.
kind of social interactions, or the
Yeah.
scene where they're at the kind of what is like the marketplace, this grocery store or whatever, and that whole kind of interactions. Although it's putting people in these situations that really like show their kind of like true colors, because they're kind of in this like intense state of paranoia or whatever. I thought all that stuff was really great and in kind of captivating the kind of interactions that the people had to go through because of uh the kind of state that they were in. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, just very funny, like mask stuff. And uh yeah, I don't know. It's because people have kind of avoided doing. I think Kimmy is one of the ones that I liked and I seen, but there's not a lot of like COVID movies that are either good or even really being made that like people
He's the
kind of
first, like,
this is
major mainstream filmmaker to
yeah,
really
it's the
kinda
biggest
yeah.
COVID movie,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen some people say like it's too soon, or it's feel like it feels like it
It was
hasn't.
half
It
a
was
decade
no, I
ago.
know it's like too, bro. It's like I don't know what we're talking
Yeah.
about. I feel like it's kind of interesting to know. I mean, it's kind of goes along with the whole thing. Like no one wants to even put phones in movies, right? Like people are avoiding
Yeah.
kind of talking about the current culture so much because of how like kind of almost dystopian it is now. Uh, but to not even, I mean, that's such a big event. I feel like it's I don't know what you would call it, but it's very like in 2020 is a year that you would look to as a very kind
Yeah.
of life-changing year for everybody. And I think it's like definitely worthy and kind of bizarre that we haven't really focused on it a little more. It'll be like, I know it's like no, not everyone wants to make every movie about it, but it's
Right.
and I mean you got to do we got to talk about it
Yeah.
somehow. We can't just like act like it never happened.
the the first criticism of the movie I wrote down to transition is the criticism that it's too soon to
Yeah.
do a pandemic movie. And so in talking
When
about
did
these
Kimmy
criticisms,
come
we could
out?
kind of even add in more of what we think the movie is about. But yeah, like
2022.
going off of that, I think it's also like it's like you mentioned that people don't want every movie to be about the pandemic. I think it's kind of funny that what it feels like is almost as if without a ton of it happening, people just like kind of took that stance
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I don't want to see a bunch of stuff about the pandemic. And it's like nobody really made movies about it, but people are like, I've had enough of this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like we shouldn't do
Yeah.
like and it's like that hasn't really I mean, I guess it happened a lot in TV. I know a lot of TV shows
Okay.
during the pandemic pivoted to like
Yeah, that
making
makes
their
sense.
next season because it just like
'Cause they just
if they
have
take
to,
place in
right?
the modern day, you kind of have to. So I know that
Yeah.
maybe people got tired of it there, but it does feel like a very funny thing to be like, yeah, too much pandemic content, and then there's just like
Yeah.
actually not that much of it. And then to go off what you're saying of it just like being too soon, I do agree that it's like I mean, this is like probably the criticism that I think has the least weight
Yeah.
because it's just I understand that depending on who you are, where you are, like the pandemic could have affected you to varying degrees. I'm somebody who was affected minimally by the pandemic, at least compared to
Sure.
people who like lost family members. Um, but it's like weird to be like, don't make a movie about this,
Yeah, yeah.
especially if you do care about everything that's happening in the world right now because it's like if this is connected to the pandemic and like our
Yeah.
current political moment is connected to the political moment of 5 years ago, which it is,
Yeah.
I do think it's a little bit strange to be like, "Hey, let's not make movies." I mean, it's like if you care about all
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
things that are happening right now, I do think it's really strange to tell somebody to be like, "Hey, don't make art about this." Like it's
Yeah,
like
no. Well, I think
I just
it
don't
is
see that
it feels like
perspective at
it
all.
feels like a very exclusive to movie thing, right? Where it's like there's the level of like movie,
Well,
you'll see like
escapism, it's this idea
the
of
Fox
escapism
News,
and
like,
Yeah.
entertainment.
the stuff where like they're like, "Stop lecturing us in Superman," or whatever. It's like there's a level of like, we want our entertainment and we don't want to think about, you know, it. And when you put COVID into the movie or when you put something into it, it's like very clearly a political like, you people can kind of even every movie is gonna have some stuff politically, but like if you're, it's like same thing like you put like war in a movie or something. I don't know. Like, it's very gonna be like, oh, this is obviously talking about this, right? Where some people are gonna watch like Fantastic Four or whatever, and turn their brain off and be like, there's nothing political in this when it obviously is going to have some sort of political connotations. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you're going to talk about anything in like the current climate, it's like that current climate is a post-COVID world.
Yeah.
So even if you don't directly mention it, like this is in the effects of that. So there's,
We live
you
in
know,
an insane fucking time.
yeah, yeah,
We
Yeah.
just live in the
yeah, yeah,
most insane time.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
that's why I do appreciate this movie because it feels the insanity feels almost not comforting, but like in the way that there's almost an alienation I felt with something like Bo's Afraid or the other ones where I'm like, I don't really relate to this. And not that I relate to the characters in the movie, but I relate to the world that they live in, right? It's just like
like you
this
see it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like, this is real. This is like it's funny because like that is real. Like there's people like that. And like it just feels like that's the world that I'm in. And it's very crazy and ridiculous. But it's yeah, no, it's maybe the most not related to the again, not related to the people, but just like the world, and like, oh, this is very real. And it's funny, and I think it's funny because of how real it is, and how it's like, oh yeah, those people exist, right? Like
right.
these crazy people, do exist, and it's almost, and they talk about like Ari Aster, like clearly like dislikes, like there's a Ari Aster kind of has that thing in a lot of his movies where it's like this guy is a loser. This I don't like that. Like this, he punishes his characters or whatever. But I think it works so much. Like all of his stuff that he kind of normally does in the movie that he puts here, it works so much for me because of how, like, I'm like, oh, that guy exists, and that guy is, I know that guy, and this is totally something that and also it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, everyone went through COVID, everyone was there. There's almost like, oh, it's like I was a part of that time period. I remember there's the scene where they have the black squares on Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, remember that thing. It's very weird. It's like all this everyone, and that's part of the internet, right? Everyone kind of experiencing things at the same time. Like it's all that thing where like people are like, oh, where were you when, or what, everyone remembers when Kobe died or something like that. Right? Everyone kind of has this shared experience because of the internet, and there's this like with COVID, it's like everyone has that thing, or like what they were doing online, or where the experience that they all shared because of this big kind of global event.
Yeah,
So it's a very kind of weird, like intimate uh thing to portray because the culture has kind of been this homogenized thing because of the internet.
Yeah.
for sure. I think yeah, COVID is. I was talking to Max about this, and he said that COVID is like 1,000 9/11s, and the way that it affected every single human being,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like we all have some idea or some kind of like emotion uh, uh, that is connected to this period of time, like May 2020, right? That is
Yeah.
that's such a specific time, and
Yeah.
like three of our lives, but also like everybody that's watching this, they kind of have an idea of what was going on because it was so weird. It was so weird, right? And it's like and it is weird that every movie isn't about this, you know? Like every
Yeah.
single movie isn't about this.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
They did make a lot of movies about 9/11, to be fair.
Well, that's what
I guess
I didn't bring
a
it up, but
number
I
of
was
them were
thinking about that when I
documentaries,
was
but
talking about like the too soon stuff, where it was like, there's so much. I mean, obviously, I wasn't like,
You weren't
uh,
around.
but I
yeah,
mean, I'm not even
you could
around.
say
But
you
I'm
weren't around.
I'm saying like I wasn't like consuming the most the popular movies that were
Yeah.
coming out and stuff like that. Like I wasn't taking that in, but yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of like, oh, when 9/11 happened, it was like this like let's fight, get together and like let's regroup, and like there's this like kind of patriotism of like we gotta be proud of America, whatever, blah, 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 right now. And then when almost COVID, it's like we want to be like we want to forget about that, right? It's like 9/11 never
Yeah.
forget with COVID. We're like, yeah, that didn't happen. Like, what are you guys talking about? That time period. Let's forget that. Let's forget that and move on. Obviously, you
Yeah.
have different things, but I think it's interesting to think about like the way that we are almost trying to forget COVID and be like, let's just move on and act like that didn't happen. Where it was a very, I mean, traumatic for some people and very life changing for everybody because like things stopped, so everyone kind
Yeah.
of had to, we can't just move. I don't know, we move on, right? But it's like you can't,
You can't
you
forget.
can't
You
just act
can't
like you
forget
forget.
about it.
Yeah, you move
Yeah.
on, but you can't forget about it. It happened and it did change everybody. This is the post COVID version.
Right.
It's very weird, like, almost you get into, like, this it's weird. I don't know, it's, like, almost this thing that
It
you was no one expected to happen, right? It just happened, and now we're like, "Oh, how do we deal with this?"
Yeah, Kevin Mikos ate that bat in fucking China, and then the whole world shut
Jesus
down.
Christ, dude. Jesus Christ. Um, I do think it's also like you bringing up like the forgetting about it thing. I do think there's also like another thing that we didn't talk about, although again, it ties back to Doug's bigger point about white supremacy,
Yeah.
but it is just like there is a lot of in the movie that is like these are on the boundaries of the movie. There's a lot of stuff where it's like these are the things we're comfortable forgetting. These are the things we're comfortable like not paying attention to. Whether it is like this unhoused man who has a big presence in the movie, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
even like the well-meaning protesters in this movie are like weirded out by his presence, and they're like,
Yeah,
"What
they're
the fuck
like
is he doing here?" You know what I mean? Which is like
yeah, yeah.
that's a real thing that happens. It is like there are plenty of people who have like strong left leaning political views and will see like a homeless man in public and be like, "Ew, get away from me." You know what I mean? And like don't know how to react to that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
so there's that. There's also like like again with the white supremacy thing, this concept of like the land that they're on, and like the movie starts with Joaquin Phoenix going across county lines and then
And
being
then
like, "Oh, like
challenging
this
their
is." Yeah,
authority.
and
Like,
challenging
yeah.
their authority, and it's like that's their land, like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
And so like there is a lot of these things on the boundaries of these issues where it's like you can support X, Y, and Z and still just like not pay attention to some other X, Y, and Z over here that is just as important and is affecting other communities and blah blah blah. So I think that's also a good point to bring up. Another big criticism of the movie, and I think that this is the one that you guys probably would have the most to say about, but also let's try to not get too angry about this one. A big criticism is that this is a centrist movie that plays both sides.
Yeah.
How do we want to? Actually, I think Doug, you yeah, just take it
Well,
away.
no, it's like that's something that people said. That's like out of
Yeah,
in Cannes, that's what people were saying was that it was playing both sides. I just think that's not true. I honestly think that there's this kind of, without getting like too crazy political, I guess, there's this kind of like liberal perspective, right? And I think liberalism is fucking killing us all. But there's like this liberal
God,
perspective
this
where it's
can't
like we
possibly
gotta
be
be
good for
like
our podcast.
normal, you know, or
No, I agree. I think
we're
that's a big
and
thing
it's
in
like
this movie.
this movie has a really left is like a very has a very it's a real like left critique of contemporary society and like pinning a lot of these problems on like white supremacy and like technocracy
Mhm.
and these things while and but part of the problem are like liberal people, you know. But Ari Aster like said this in an interview, and it was really good. Where he was like, "Yeah, you know, like in the movie, it's like yeah, like liberals are kind of annoying, and I point that out. But then it's like conservatives are like killing people and ruining people's lives."
Yeah. Well, it's very funny because
Yeah,
the both sides of it all is like, this guy is clearly very much, like, worse, like, he's so much worse, and it's very funny when
yeah,
people I mean, there's a lot of people getting, like, very upset about some of the things that are like, the depictions of the Black Lives Matter protests, they're like, but then the other like, they're saying both sides, and there's, like, there's a murder that happens, he kills the, like
there's
he
multiple
he
murders
kills, like, a
actually.
kid, he kills, like, a kid. That
Yeah,
sequence where is so that was, like, very wow, because 'cause you're watching the movie, and they're just like, "Okay." It's pretty I mean, it's crazy, but it's pretty normal to that point, and then
And
they
it goes
he fucking
crazy.
snipes Pedro Pascal, he gets fucking sniped,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he shoots the kid, and then the movie I mean, it
yeah.
really takes off, but that I think that was such a like, that scene really cemented, like, okay, I kinda got it a little bit here when he just, like, takes his political opponent out.
Yeah. That
Um
stuff is like hard to watch. He also, speaking of that unhoused man, he also kills that
Oh,
guy,
yeah, yeah, that
and
scene too.
like
That scene too.
that's like a thing. I think even like I think it's actually a really like noteworthy thing to mention is that like it almost feels like because of the murder of Pedro Pascal's character and his son that like that scene is supposed to feel like what that character feels like in the movie, which is like it is
Yeah.
tossed slightly like you do almost kind of
Yeah, no,
forget
no, no
about
one
it as
give
quick
no,
as
no,
it
the people
happens because he just like
the whole
dumps the
town
body and like
forgets
moves
about
off.
doesn't they don't care about him at all. He
Yeah,
dies, and it's never mentioned again in the movie.
yeah,
But yeah, that scene because he walks into the bar or whatever, and he stares at the guy, and it's like there's a kind of silent, like, little moment where you're like, "Is he really about to just fucking kill this guy?"
yeah,
And then does, and then we never talk about it again, and
Well,
that's
then he
very
covers it up. It's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah,
he
no,
covers it
well,
up, and
that's
then
the
like
whole thing
nobody.
about the whole way that the white guy who runs the town can kinda just do what the fuck ever he wants to do, and he
Right.
does pretty much get away with that stuff because I mean, he does a really bad job of, covering his tracks or whatever, but
Sure.
he doesn't really
That is
it's
like,
very
yeah,
interesting.
that stuff is where the movie like really. I mean, I liked the movie before that. I was like, this is a funny movie, and then that stuff happens, and it's like that's when it really starts to affect you. Like it is like that stuff is like hard to watch. Like it is it's like bad, and it does tie into like this arc of the Joe Cross character and like how
Mhm,
he gets from where he is at the start of the movie to like this. Yeah, it's weird that there's like almost even a criticism of people I didn't even write this uh down under these criticisms, but like it is almost like this criticism of people being like, oh, this character is not like, I've seen, and maybe this is just a minority, but I've seen people say that like this character is not like depicted as like a bad person, or like that
which
Ari Aster is
character?
too much the main, like Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix's
Oh,
Phoenix.
character.
oh, oh, yeah,
And I'm
no.
like, like people being like, oh, and he's shown too much empathy and stuff like that. I'm like, if you watch this movie and you think that this is like a good guy, like
That
there's, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
that's crazy to me.
He, like, snipes a kid.
Yeah, like
It's
he literally kills people.
Yeah,
Um,
he kills
it's
people.
crazy.
Well, and also
Um,
because I do think like the playing both sides thing, it's like because Joaquin Phoenix, not sorry, because Pedro Pascal, is also like not a good guy in the movie
yeah,
either, right? But it is like,
Yeah.
right, like he is like selling out this land to like this corporation to make this data center, and it's like, and it is like negative and like selfish, but
yeah,
also like there's levels to it where it's like Joe Cross,
Yeah.
he killed a little kid, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But
it's
I do think to that point, and I
oh,
think to like
man.
the point you were mentioning before, it is also kind of about like this system and like
Mhm.
how these like, I think you do have like people are kind of hurt over the fact that like if your opinion is that it's like both sidesing it, that's like not the perspective you need to take, but it's like you do need to show that these people are a little bit wrong, because like if you don't, then like that goes a long way too. It's like if your solution is to just like get rid of the Joe Crosses of the world and have a bunch of characters like Pedro Pascal's character selling out to corporations, like it's like this is also going to damage your lives. Like this is also just there's like
Because like
like
the end
really
of the
damage your
movie,
lives.
that's the whole, that's what the whole fucking movie's about. Because the whole movie happens, and we go through this whole saga where people are dying and all this shit happens. But at the end of the movie ends how it was always going to end. The data center gets built, the fucking
Yeah,
land gets raped. It's like
yeah,
that is like that because that's that there's bigger things at play here where everything this funnels up through that. Right, it doesn't matter
right.
because because we're all focusing at whatever. Yeah,
No, that's true. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
that was my perspective. It's like that's the problem with being a crazy person on your phone. Also, is that like you're being shown all this stuff, like all this stuff is bad, and then like it keeps happening. And it's like it's crazy to watch this stuff at like I even when I was watching Aaron Brockovich, like I mentioned, like watching like these types of movies where it's like and I'm sure you guys have seen this as well. It's like the with like XAI and like the centers that they're
Yeah,
building are
Memphis,
like
right?
they're
Yeah.
yeah, they are like poisoning an entire community. Like
Yeah.
they are killing people there by building these places. And it's like, and yeah, when you are glued to your phone and like watching this stuff, it's like of course these things are bad. They do all tie back to the same thing though. It's like, yeah, of course this stuff sucks. It's like, like the zoomed out perspective does matter. It does matter that there are like democratic politicians like killing people,
Yeah.
like it's like, and to like both sides it makes it seem like it's just like that's the solution. It's not. Like it's like that's not the solution. So I do think that's a really frustrating complaint, though I understand where that could come from. I do see how like the immediate reaction out of Cannes, as is with any movie that like throws this much at you. It's like if you watch this movie, if any person watched this movie one time and like had nothing else to compare it to and had nobody else to talk to about it because they saw it in like this secluded way where it's like you just saw it at this festival, then like yeah, I could see that being your perspective before like you gain the perspective from a bunch of other people. I get that. But now that we've had this broader conversation about it, I'm just like I don't really see how you can stick with that perspective of like, oh, this is a centrist movie. I don't think that that's what this is about. Another criticism of the movie, and maybe we are not the podcast co-hosts to talk about this, but
Oh, Jesus
but
Christ.
we have to bring it up. Is this well, we don't have to talk specifically about Ari Aster being a white man making a movie that invokes like BLM protests and stuff like that. But a criticism I've even seen tied to that is this idea of like criticizing well-meaning people, where it's like the people protesting are like good-hearted young people who are like, who want to be
Well, that's
activists because they care about these
well,
things.
but the movie's kind of saying it's like they're not all well-meaning, that's like
And
yeah,
this is true as well if you were alive in that present moment.
yeah.
As somebody, I mean,
Yeah.
I even said it of myself, and I'd like to think that I like become a better person as time passes, as hopefully everybody else does. But like even back then, when I was kind of radicalized during the pandemic, the lines get blurred between it's like how much of this is like what you think and how much of this is personal gain. And then I noticed as I started to like understand things more and read things more and like
Yeah.
really see things and care about them, and I was like, this is, like this is stuff that affects me, and like I watch it and I'm like, this really hurts. And then you go to uh a protest, let's say, or wherever, and like you at the time, if you were going to these BLM protests in 2020, you would have come across so many people who were doing this for social points. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
undeniable, and maybe even to some degree I was, because I didn't know any better, but that's just true. Like, and it's depicted in the movie
Sure.
because this is something that happens. Like that just, I don't know, it is. And so I get the critique that these people are well-meaning, because I'm sure a lot of them are. And obviously people could just like, especially with young people, it's like your worldview isn't completely even shaped. You could be, if you were a teenager at BLM protests, it's like you've still got so much life to live before you even understand. That's the problem as well with what's being depicted in this movie. I think another thing is like, because it's throwing so many ideas at you in the same way that we're consuming so many ideas online, our worldviews, especially for young people, are just like shifting so much because you're seeing so many different things happen, and like you don't even have the capacity, like you don't know enough to even understand everything that you're consuming at the rate that you're consuming it. And so, like, your worldview is so does that make sense? It's like your worldview is so malleable, I think, because it's like
Mhm.
when you see like the BLM protests at the same time, where it's like a week ago this didn't matter to you, and now you see this and you're like, oh, that's a bad thing. But then you see a different
Yeah.
bad thing and a different bad thing, and then like you're consuming all of this stuff. It's like if you don't even have the time to process these things and learn about these things and know what this stuff actually means and how it impacts people, then like your worldview is just like there's nothing like strong about it yet. And so it could change so easily. um that's what we'll say about that. We don't I mean, unless you guys have opinions about Ari after being
Well,
a
No, yeah.
white
I was
man
just gonna
making a
say,
movie about
I
this,
think
but
when you talk about like the well-meaning people, it's like that's why I was like, it's hard to like see if you're seeing yourself in the people that are not well-meaning. Then it's like just because they showed a couple people that aren't maybe have the best intentions or in the best headspace, that doesn't mean that everybody that was, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's
yeah,
like there's just a couple they're showing people that aren't maybe doing it for the right reasons. It doesn't mean that everybody whoever has protested anything is not, it's
yeah,
very it becomes this kind of thing where it's like, okay, these people are, maybe doing it for the wrong reason. This guy's trying to do it because he likes this girl. That doesn't mean that you guy who protested did it for that reason. It's like I don't know. It's very
The fact that in the movie, all of the things that they're protesting happen in the movie and is like real,
yeah.
right? Should kind of shut down any like idea that Ari Aster thinks that these people are dumb, or like the idea of protesting
right,
is dumb. I think maybe he's
Yeah.
more approaching like this isn't effective. This is poor organizing, and like some of these
Yeah.
people are not smart, right?
Mhm.
But it does,
yeah,
but it's like the problems, which is the part that actually matters. Like
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Another criticism that I had, probably the last one we need to talk about, though I don't think I think everything else we've said kind of sums this up. But a lot of people have critiqued the movie for having too many ideas and not picking a lane, and so it doesn't like say anything because it says too much. I think kind of everything we just explained
People are
Yeah,
seems
I
like
mean, I think
illiterate.
when
true.
Ari Aster talked about like this movie being like Twitter in 2020, I think that was really funny. But like, that's the internet. Like, it's very there's a lot going on. I kind of like that aspect of it, and I think it works in the context of what he's doing here.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think that's honestly what I like most about the movie. Like that, like
yeah,
when watching the movie and having this much information thrown at you, I was like, "Oh, this is just what it feels like to
yeah,
be alive."
yeah.
This is like, so
It's
that was probably
insane.
that was the thing I
Yeah,
immediately grasped onto, where I was like, "Yeah, duh."
it's hard to be like, oh, that like bozo batshit crazy movie has too much going on in it. It's like, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It's not
Yeah,
not crazy about it.
right. Uh, okay, we could. I mean, and we'll probably touch on these when we talk about other things, but we could maybe steer away from the big ideas in the movie and just talk about a couple other things. I think the big thing, talk about some of these performances: Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, and if you guys want to mention any of the other smaller names but standouts, feel free. You guys want to start with Joaquin
Um,
Phoenix in the lead?
Yeah, no, I mean, this everybody in this movie is really good. That's my
okay.
big take. I think
Yeah.
it's like probably, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix's best performance in a number of years, I wanna say, because of the
Um.
of the
Yeah.
layers that he's bringing and how complex his character is. Um, unless you're
Yeah.
gonna stand on the hill that Joker is some deserving of.
I guess I'm just like looking. So what we've had in the last couple years is Joker, well, Joker Folie à Deux specifically. Napoleon, if you think that one would be
Oh yeah.
better. Beau is Afraid, another Ari Aster movie. You could argue. Come on, come on. And then the first Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
probably this.
yeah, I think that this is like kinda heads and heels stand out in this crop
Um, yeah, he's really good.
of recent stuff. And
I
now
think
Emma
Pedro is
Stone, oh, Pedro.
Emma Stone's really good. Pedro,
Yeah,
I've
I did see Doug say
yeah, he did say
some
this.
stuff on
Yes.
the Real Talk podcast where I was like, Doug, I appreciate the audacity, but like maybe let's hit the brakes a second. I
It's
think
like
Doug said that
she's
this is
so
the best
good.
performance of her career.
She's so
She
good.
right after
And
she
I'm
won
not
the Oscar.
disagreeing with you, but the best performance of her career might, I'm not saying you can't make a case. I'm sure you can make a compelling
Bro,
argument. I
all I'm
feel like you
saying
said
is
it without thinking
she's
though.
so good in this movie. That's all I'm saying is Joe said that George Carmi said that she was bad in this movie
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
and I was like
That is another, like,
you're
criticism levied at the
crazy.
movie, is that she's underutilized. Same with, like, Austin Butler, that, like, people were like, "Oh, they don't use Emma Stone enough."
They're in the movie as
Uh,
much as they need to be. I don't like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, Austin Butler comes in and it's like, oh, this guy's a movie star. He kind of comes in, steals the
yeah,
show a little. Immediately kind of sucks up all the attention there. But yeah, I think Emma Stone's good. But yeah, I think, like you said, I think she's in it as it's not her really her. There's so much going
her
on, and we're really focusing
yeah.
on Joe Cross here and what he's kind of the problems he's causing. So, I mean, I don't know how much more Emma Stone like we can really put in the movie. But yeah, I mentioned Pedro, but I've kind of the more there's this like weird like Twitter. I'm not gonna get into the
Yeah,
whole
we were
Twitter.
gonna I was gonna bring
Well,
that
I
up
was
as
gonna bring up
well.
the Twitter thing, but I was gonna bring up like before that even there was like this kind of notion of like, oh my god, another movie with Pedro Pascal, and like they're like, I just watched Gladiator 2. I guess who the fucking was in the movie.
He's, like, not in that
Um,
many movies.
but the more I kind of watch him, the more I do like him.
He's
Um,
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Doug and
I
I have been on the Pedro Pascal train
I
for
think
a
the
while,
problem
Yeah.
really
like,
for a
but
bit was like he wasn't in really good
he's
things,
not
you
in that
know.
many movies.
He's
It's, like,
just in
crazy
he's
that
he's
this
like
is
a
like a
TV show guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, it's, like,
exactly.
crazy
He
that
was
this
a
is a thing that people put he's in, like, 6 movies, you know?
Yeah,
And
he
people are
was.
like,
Well,
"Oh,
I
he's
think.
everywhere."
Yeah, I think a problem originally was like, okay, he's just a lot in TV, and he's done some great stuff, and now I think with the more kind of good things that even Materialist I didn't like, but I did like him, and that he was my favorite part of that movie. So
Yeah.
the more I watch him, the more I like him. So I did want to mention that.
Yeah, he's really good in Fantastic Four as well. As good as you could be in a movie like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Even in
yeah.
TV, he's in like 3 TV shows.
Yeah, but what happens is it's like, okay, he's in 3 TV shows, and they're like 3 of the biggest TV shows, and it's like
Yeah,
only
they're
this it's
he's
like
in very
you
big
know what?
TV
So what
shows.
happens is like when you're in like a few things, but they're the big things, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, because people only watch like 3 things. So when you're in
Yeah.
3 of those
Yeah,
things or 2
sure.
of those things that the 3
And he's
guys,
in like 3 movies that could be like the 3 movies that people watch all
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, it's like
So it's like
Gladiator 2, Fantastic 4. It's
yeah.
like those
Right.
those are the guy, the guy who's, 35 and watches 10 movies a year. Like that's just a lot. Actually, 10 movies more than normal. But you're probably gonna see a lot of Pedro. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's in it. He's cool. Shout out.
But it's also just like that's weird because it's like you're also gonna see a lot of other people too. You
Well, yeah, they,
know?
they did the
Like
same
it's if
thing
you're a
with
guy if you're a
Anya
person who watches
Taylor-Joy.
10
They were
movies
Chalamet.
complaining about
yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a person who watches 10 movies a year, you're gonna see a lot of the same
Yeah.
people. Like, that's
Yeah.
just, like, natural. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird, and I mean, you guys can say anything about it if you want, but the Twitter thing is just weird too. Like, all the conversations happening about Pedro Pascal right now are
Well,
weird
there's
a
like a
little bit.
conspiracy theory that it's like that it's like a PR company and it's like a targeted hate campaign, like smear campaign.
Well, Twitter is weird because like
I
we're in this day and age where you have like bot accounts and like AI accounts where even like there's a whole thing I
And
was
they're like
reading like
the
where
biggest accounts.
where like Spotify will have like AI music and like AI listeners listening to the AI music. But like with
yeah,
so like we're in this like really weird day and age where like where you're on the internet, you're thinking you're talking to a real person, you're arguing with an AI bot, so it's very easy to like artificially kind of start trends if you just have like a bunch of AI bots that have a lot of followers make these jokes and then like they get likes, so then other people start making the same jokes. Because there's a lot of people just making the same joke. But it's weird because I mean I guess it's because he's at that point and he's super famous. But it's like really it's like everyone's talking about Pedro Pascal right now. Like what is going on? Like it's very it's weird. I don't but yeah, I don't know. Twitter is like a awful
yeah,
place.
I guess I guess the conspiracy that it is a targeted hate campaign is not unbelievable. I do think that it's at least, like, a a public a public hate campaign. I do think that there is like a number of people who
Yeah.
are just like, and I think specifically Pedro Pascal being as outspoken as he's been about certain causes
Yeah, well, that's
has
also where
led
it
certain
comes
groups to be
into
like, yeah, we should hate this guy,
yeah.
because that's a real problem. I think that if you're a guy like Pedro Pascal and you're in 3 of the biggest movies of the year and you're in 3 of the biggest TV shows and you are one of the only guys that people know,
Yeah.
then the second you say something and a lot of these people, an entire crowd of people love X show or Y movie, all of a sudden it's like we need to hate this guy.
Yeah, I think that's
And
where
so it happens
the
really fast
I
like
think
that.
I think that's where that conspiracy kinda comes from, especially, like because he was like he said something, like I don't know what he said
Yeah, I mean,
exactly,
he's
but,
been very
like, J.K.
outspoken about trans
Rowling
rights,
yeah,
which is
exactly, that's what
like
I'm saying, like,
not a,
those people, like, are, like, kind of annoyed with him because of that, because of his
yeah,
sister and how what he's talked about,
right.
so, like,
It's like it's like bare minimum stance, but
there are
millions of
people in
people are gonna
high
get mad
positions
about it.
that don't like him because of his, what he said. And it's not totally far fetched to think that people could just like have AI bots, make
Yeah.
stupid posts about him. And it's very weird because especially like, on just like on Twitter and stuff, like the culture, even like with like the White House and stuff, like posting like memes and stuff like, just like really like awful,
Oh
like
god.
horrible things. But that's what kind of the way we're in now, where like a public hate campaign could just be people making jokes. And it's also the way that like Twitter works, where it's like you make that joke because also it's gonna get a lot of likes too. So people probably don't even care. People don't care, right? Most people don't care or
Yeah.
whatever he's doing, but it's more of like you post that joke. It's a popular joke right now. It gets likes, so that's why you post it. So it's a weird like. There's a lot of elements to the kind of thing that's going on right now.
Yeah.
But
But anyway, yeah. I also thought Pedro Pascal was good in the movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I also thought Emma Stone was good in the movie. I also thought Austin Butler was good in the movie. I don't know if you guys want to throw out any other names,
Who else is
lesser
in this
names in
movie?
the cast. I did think there were like Doug said, I think it is kind of just as simple as everybody in the movie is good.
Yeah.
Um, I I did really like this Deirdre O'Connell character who was like the mother in the movie.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
alongside Joe Cross at the end of the movie, which we'll talk about in a minute. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of good performances. I don't know if you guys want to mention anybody or if we can move on.
No, I think everyone's good though. I think the standout for me really was Emma Stone. I mean, she's
Okay.
so crazy.
Yeah. Uh, did you guys want to talk about Darius Kanji? Is it Kanji? Is that how you say his name? The cinematographer of the movie.
Oh well, so I'll say this
Why did it
quickly.
take you so long to process that?
I'll say this quickly. This movie is definitely his most well made. I think like there's so many like really like technically strong images, and like the direction is so strong too. Like the action direction at the end of the film is so crazy. Like this is definitely the most difficult movie. Not difficult because it was like so like Beau's Afraid had so many ideas, right? But this movie like executed them to like so technically. Does that make sense? It's like everything about the movie
Yeah,
is done super well. Like everything is done so
Yeah.
well. Um,
yeah. I I think even specifically, and this is like another topic that I just want to get into, but I think specifically when you get to like the third act and like how chaotic the last 30-ish minutes of this movie are, 30 plus minutes. I mean from the point where the murders start until the end of the movie uh is just like awesome to me. It was very like it was like and again, I've seen this comparison made already, but it felt a lot like Ari Aster's like No Country for Old Men. Like that was like the vibe I was getting when I was watching it, which yeah, that whole like back half of the movie I thought was just like so exciting. Um Especially when it gets to like the just insane action. And we could like I mean we are I guess anybody listening to this podcast at this point has probably seen the movie. So
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know if you guys.
I did want to note, because I'm a big fan of Darius. He has shot two of my favorite movies of the year, Eddington and Mickey 17. And Marty Supreme is on the way. He also shot that. So
oh, we shot Marty
Yeah.
Supreme.
he's having a great
Wow.
year. We did a Panic Room episode recently. We also did that. He's really
Yeah.
great.
7 Uncut Gems.
Yeah, so a couple Woody Allens that I like. Yeah, really great cinematographer. There's a lot of great
Oh, did
uh
he?
stuff in this movie. I think even there's one at the end where like it's like he's target practice or whatever, and he like shoots through the thing, and he has a little you see him through the
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
hole.
and you could see him in the
It's
yeah.
great stuff, and I love the like ring light shot where he's like talking at that he's giving his whole
Yeah.
speech. There's some really beautiful images in this film, or like constructed images.
Even just all the screens. I mean, like, there's, like, the
Yeah,
one where it's, like,
yeah,
Emma
yeah,
Stone, like, watching, like, the YouTube video, and then in, like, the black space on the
I
screen, you see her face, and I'm
love
like,
that.
"Oh,
I love the
yeah.
that
No,
was
no,
reflections
so
on
good."
screens.
it's very great. It's very great. I love it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite shot movies of the year.
Um, I also wrote down how funny the movie was. We kinda mentioned that already, and I was gonna ask you guys what you thought the funniest part was, but I feel like we almost all agreed on that
It's like
scene
Kyle
where
Rittenhouse.
Kyle
Yeah.
Rittenhouse is just, like, invented.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great shot right there where he's got the phone, he's got his like phone, and he's got the gun. And it's like this like POV uh shot there where he shoots the guy. That's a really I love that shot. That
Yeah.
whole scene we didn't really talk too much about it, but the whole like I think Max said like a whole John Wick sequence
Yeah, like
thing,
the
but
Yeah.
that was very
Antifa
funny. But
manhunt.
that
Yeah.
whole section of the movie is great where he falls into the like little museum thing there,
Right.
and all you just hear is him like breathing super loud, and he's like, that whole sequence is like
Yeah. That stuff's
fantastic.
crazy, and that's like like, yeah, that's what I was saying is the best part, but it's also just like, I don't know, I
No, I mean
that was kind of what gave me, like, the No Country for Old Men vibes, where it was like it
yeah.
kinda made me think of, like, that chase in No Country
What
for
I
Old
really
Men, where
like
it's like
the sequence where he goes to confront Pedro Pascal at the Katy Perry song is playing,
yes, yeah.
and and that whole
That is
sequence
definitely
is
also one of the funniest
beautifully
parts of the movie.
constructed. It's really funny, but it's also just like everything they are just put together really well. I really like
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. It's also crazy that just like so much happens in this movie that there's like entire subplots we haven't even really
Oh
like
yeah, I
talked
mean, that's the
about.
thing is this you could talk about this movie
So
forever.
so I don't know if you guys want to like point out specific scenes or subplots that like we haven't really mentioned. I mean, even in talking about Emma Stone's character, we haven't even
Yeah,
really
there's a
talked about
whole
like
thing
how
there.
much like what is happening with his wife affects his actions in the movie and like how much you could pick all of that stuff apart. Um
Yeah, I think another funny part, if we're talking about funniest part, is at the very end when the mom is showing him that she's pregnant and he's just freaking out. Um,
Yeah.
that's so funny. Oh,
No,
yeah,
oh,
that
messed
stuff is
up,
yeah,
like
but
yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah, no, that
yeah,
stuff's well, I love the I forget who said this, but about how great the interior, like decorating and the design in this movie is. But when they are in that new house at the end and how like open and wide it is, it's really great. That all that stuff at the end is really nice.
yeah. I did want to talk about that what Doug mentioned like the ending of the movie because I think like
Yeah.
another like idea I even got out of the movie, even if it's like a smaller thing, is like kind of like because people I said that thing where people were like, oh, like Ari Aster creates some empathy for this Joe Cross character. And I think like the most empathy he creates, like going along with some of the ideas in the movie that I mentioned, is just that like he depicts like Joe Cross kind of starts the movie as like average American conservative. And before like Donald Trump existed, there was this like whether it's a good or bad sentiment. I mean, I think we probably agree that it's a bad sentiment, but like there's just this kind of idea of like the just like the decent Republican. Like it was like there was like a like
Like
there's a
Mitt
divide in
Romney,
America.
like
Yeah, like it was like there's a divide in America, but like Republicans and liberals, like
Yeah.
like we, we're still the same people. It's like we just have different ideas about how the world should work or whatever. And
Yeah.
then COVID kind of like revealed what everybody, and then like and then Donald
Yeah.
Trump steps in, and it's like, it
yeah,
reveals a lot of things about what is actually buried under that facade. Though also you could argue that like social media and all this stuff made people crazier and maybe even made them believe things that they didn't before.
Yeah.
And I think all that stuff's really interesting. And I think it's also interesting that the final scene of the movie is then like completes this arc of like starting the movie as like that old American ideal of like the just like the average American conservative, and then he is like now being paraded around by this like conspiracy driven woman, like conspiracy driven MAGA woman who is like using him for political gain to like tout these conspiracies to the public, and like how in the course of one movie it just goes from like that average Republican, and then it's like, oh, my
Yeah.
wife doesn't love me and I don't want to wear a mask, and then 2 hours later it's like I'm murdering people and
Yeah.
now I'm like a full-blown like
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist. I thought that was like a really interesting arc for a
Yeah, no,
character
it's
to have
interesting.
in a movie.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, I mean, just when you talk about that, it's like you'll see like clips on whatever go viral, whatever. It's like there's a
on
debate from like
Threads.
10 years ago or something, and like you compare it to
Yeah.
like Donald Trump, yelling, calling people crazy names or
Right.
whatever. Like and we've gotten so used to that stuff, but it like you just watch like something from not even too long ago, and the kind of stark difference in like the political climate from like it goes back to what I was saying about the White House posted memes and stuff, and it's like we're just like in a totally different world and the way that these things are being handled, and like there's like a lack of almost there was this like kind of professional wall, and even if they believed the same thing behind the closed doors, right, there was a level of like this is how you act, right, and that is
Yeah.
we've kind of especially when you talk about internet and COVID, but the way that we're supposed to people are supposed to act in certain settings has kind of gone out the door, right? We're much more kind of
Yeah.
animalistic in that nature now.
Yeah. uh is there anything else you guys want to say about Eddington?
No, I don't think so. I think the movie also kind of speaks for itself a little bit, and I think that we kind of shed a little bit of light if somebody was a little confused, you know.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah, I do
I
think it's
do
also just like
one
a movie that
scene.
you don't have to understand right
No,
away.
no, no,
Like
not
it
at all.
is
Yeah.
And I
like,
think there's I've still I'm kind of wrapping my head around it all. One thing I just thought of is like where it's like the fuck, I don't even know what they're it's like the Joe Cross and then the guy the one of the police officers and then like the fucking they like blow the shit up. That scene is crazy. Like the Antifa, whatever,
Right.
they have like a
Yeah, we
drone.
didn't really talk about like
That
the
shit is
Antifa stuff in
crazy.
great
That
detail,
shit
but
is
that stuff is
crazy.
like
That's
nuts.
he's because he's like I don't forget what is he can't say like he can't say don't come closer, and the guy like they're like got the guns at him, and it all just blows up. Those people just fucking like I guess the one guy survives, but the other guy loses his body and life.
Yeah.
That's what's I guess that's the start of the whole John Wick sequence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole thing is insane. Very
Yeah, all of
crazy
that's
moment.
insane. Antifa stuff is like where it really made me think of Civil War, and I'm like, and in my head, I was like, like I said in my review, even that it was like Civil War made by somebody more annoying because it is like Ari Aster is just like does kind of just like prick you in ways that are more annoying, but it's also just like so much better than Civil War and so much different in my eyes that like
Yeah, yeah.
I think people who like kind of compare them as like two of the same movies. It's like because even with the Antifa stuff, it's like in Civil War, it's like they mention this like Antifa massacre, and it's like and he like really like you know what I mean? Like it's like Alex Garland really thinks that the world works the way that it does in Civil War, and like really sees the world that way. And then Ari Aster in this movie like plays the Antifa stuff for like a joke, and is like, no, these like
No.
they're coming in on a private plane
Oh,
funded by like
funded
this
by
this
the
tech
by the
company.
big tech company. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Where it's like it's so smart. It's so smart. If you
yeah,
watch this movie and you see the Antifa like get introduced the way that they do in this movie, right? And your takeaway is like, oh, fucking conservative dog whistle. I think that you actually have fucking maggots where your brain is supposed to be. Because
okay,
it's
Well, yeah, I
like,
that's
saw
maybe not going
we
too
cut we
far.
talked about the Sender stuff, but I've even saw people be like, "Oh, Ari Aster is like red pill." Or like something like I've seen like people be like, "This kind of like a conservative movie." I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
been
like
even
what?
I don't know. People have are interesting reactions happening to this movie for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like that was the one thing where I was like that to me like the Antifa stuff. I was like, this is the most like
it was
opposite.
so,
Like
bro. I
it's like if somebody who like it's like if somebody made Civil War but like actually like was right about what's happening right now.
when they cut to like the Antifa, like Antifa, they're not actually anti-fascist. The private
Yeah,
military pretending to be Antifa. That's another layer of the fucking movie that people are
Yeah, yeah,
missing,
yeah.
right? The
yeah,
private military pretending to be Antifa on the private jet. I fucking screamed in the movie theater. Not literally, but I laughed so loudly. It was so
yeah,
funny because it was
Yeah.
so unexpected. It like came out of
Yeah.
fucking nowhere. Like,
right. And it's like also if you just have a brain, it's like where do you think like how could this have happened? If you think that he's like portraying this earnestly, it's like, how the fuck do you think these people would get a private jet? Like, it's
yeah,
like, who do you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Antifa
yeah.
is?
yeah,
Like,
like
that's like crazy. Like, where would they get rifles and bombs in a private jet and just like
Yeah.
fly around the country doing terrorism? Like, come on, man. It's like these people don't exist. Anyway, that's Eddington, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
We uh we can talk about some news, but first, as always, share some feedback if you like listening to us talk about Eddington. If you think that we're fucking stupid, or if this helped you
Yeah, tell us that
understand the
we're
movie
stupid
more,
down
you
below.
can like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. You can rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or you can follow us at all of our links in the episode description. News this week. Obviously, we took that 1 week break. I mostly just focused on news from the past week. So anything that happened 2 weeks ago, sorry guys, you could find your news, I guess. Big thing that like specifically for us is festivals, and TIFF announced their full lineup, but we're not going to go through that because we're
Yeah, we're
not
not going to
attending
TIFF.
TIFF.
Fuck TIFF.
However, New
Starring
York
Charlize
Film
Theron.
Festival announced two movies specifically, their opening night movie and their
Yes.
centerpiece movie. Opening night will be Luca Guadagnino's After the Hunt, and their centerpiece movie will be Jim Jarmusch's Father, Mother, Sister, Brother.
huge, two
Yes.
huge
Yeah.
Yeah,
gets, exciting.
awesome. I will be trying. I'm really worried as a person who, and this is the case for all of us. We all got opening night passes. I last year wanted to see the centerpiece and closing night movies, and those tickets compared
Yeah,
to the tickets for
crazy,
any
right?
other movie are like $90. And
Yeah.
I told myself this year, I'm like, I'm willing to. I want to see more movies than I saw last year, so I'm
Okay,
willing to
okay.
splurge a little.
Woo-hoo.
However, I'm really nervous about what the closing night movie is because I want to see Father, Mother, Sister, Brother so badly. But if somehow they pick a closing night movie that I want to see even more,
What
What
I'm
movie?
only buying
what's a
one
movie?
Yeah.
$90
What's a
ticket.
movie?
Kelly
because
Riker.
okay,
Yeah, the
well,
mastermind. The
yeah,
We
mastermind
that'd
get
be
the
probably isn't gonna be
mastermind.
closing night. That'll probably just play though. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was
well, because
figuring. I was like, it
I
won't
don't
be.
know
I
if
don't
this
know.
is happening, but some of the people were saying like it could be Marty Supreme.
yeah, that makes sense
Yeah.
actually. Marty
But
Supreme would make sense.
who knows? It could be something we don't
If
even
it is
know.
Marty Supreme, then I
Would
get really torn because I'm
yeah,
like,
what
I
would you
think
do
I'd rather
there?
see. I think I'd rather see Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, but like Marty Supreme will obviously be the buzzier movie.
I miss
You
Adam
know?
Driver so much. I want to watch a new movie with Adam Driver in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kate Blanchett too. Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah,
like
Kate
that's
Blanchett.
that was the other thing I was thinking about where I was like, closing night would have to be like one of my absolute most anticipated
Yeah.
movies because the idea of being at New York Film Festival and seeing Kate Blanchett standing like 20 feet in front of me, that's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? That's like one of
No,
the best
yeah.
living actors. Like I'd freak
I
out.
hope
And Adam Driver, of
Mastermind
course.
is
But
just a regular.
Yeah, I think Mastermind
yeah, I
will
hope
probably
so
be a
too.
regular
I
one.
mean, obviously,
I hope
I just
so.
hope it's part of the lineup. You know, like it could just not be part of the lineup, but I hope it is.
If
Yeah.
no, Mastermind
Uh,
probably will be. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
well, I was just
it's a
like looking at
movie.
the
Who the
TIFF
fuck knows
lineup
what
and like,
movie he's gonna do?
yeah, I was just looking at the TIFF lineup to kind of try to compare
Well,
like what might
Father,
play.
Mother, Sister, Brothers also movie.
Okay.
But anyway, you guys have opinions about After the Hunt being opening it because we're all seeing
Oh,
that.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm pumped up, excited.
Yeah, Luca, the new Luca.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking about it between like how excited I am for After the Hunt and how excited I am for his next movie, which we're also going to talk about in the news.
What's
Like,
yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. But other than like Kelly Riker and M. Night Shyamalan, like the two obvious working direct, like to me, the most excited I think I get for a new director's movie is like Luca. Like I'm just like every time a Luca project is announced, I'm like, yeah, like this is
Yeah,
currently in this moment, like this is as excited as I get when
He's
like a new
just
he's
Luca
so
having
movie
good.
comes
an
He's so
incredible
interesting.
decade.
Yeah.
Like, because I
out.
mean, Call Me by Your Name 2017, but like from that point on, right? He has really cemented himself as like one of the guys.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
After the Hunt, super excited about
Such
because
a good choice for opening night too. Like that's gonna be so fun to
yeah, I
see
know.
all
I mean,
like
that's just
see
I
that
think
with all our
that's such
friends.
a great like start of the festival, like pump up, like
Yeah,
new Luca, right? Yeah, and then
I'm very excited for
yeah, I'm
that.
excited to see what else plays because, of course,
Yeah, we'll be getting the
you're
full
seeing a
schedule,
lot
I
of
guess, in
other
like
movies.
maybe 2 weeks or something. I don't know like I said, we're not going to talk about the TIFF lineup, but when the New York Film Festival lineup is announced, we can dedicate time on the pod to talking about the full lineup and what we're most excited to potentially watch. But next piece of news is the Luca Guadagnino news, which is that Luca Guadagnino's Artificial, which we already previously reported would star Andrew Garfield, Yura Borisov, and potentially Monica Barbaro. I guess she hasn't been officially cast,
Yeah,
has
she's gonna
added
be.
other members of the cast. Ike Barinholtz will play Elon Musk, Cooper Koch, Cooper Hoffman, and Jason Schwartzman all have joined the cast as well.
This is so
Oh
fucking
man.
crazy,
Oh
bro.
man.
It's
Yeah.
like I
These
don't
are some like,
if this
oh,
movie isn't good, dude,
no,
Oh,
I
it's
just
the
feel like
also
this is a movie.
same DP. Same DP as our After the Hunt, the belly guy.
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, that's exciting.
wow.
This Artificial movie, I've seen some skepticism, like some real skepticism online. I think it kind of goes into what we were talking about with Eddington, where people like just it's like so weird. We're in an era where people like
It's like,
don't.
don't make a movie about AI.
Well, no, it's more
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
like
yeah.
don't make a movie about what's happening right now. I guess, or
Yeah.
like it's like that's it's like really
Right.
feels like that's how people feel. Where it's like Eddington, it's like don't make a movie about COVID because it's like I went through COVID, and it's like people are looking
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this Luca movie, and they're like, don't make a movie about AI or about these people that are in real. It's like why
Yeah.
not, bro? Bro, when
Well,
the
it's
Social Network
yeah.
came out, like those people were still kicking it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Well, it's because I mean it's like a hot button topic, and these are things that like obviously have like negative effects. And
yeah,
there's like it's almost like a don't touch that because we don't want you to we don't want to watch the movie and have
it's
you
so
have like the wrong
controversial.
take. It's like yeah, it's very like don't
What
Yeah.
the
touch that
fuck?
idea. But yeah, I think it's very fascinating. I think Cooper Hoffman, fantastic. Like I love these guys. So it's I mean, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman is
Jason
he was
Schwartzman
so
just
good in
makes any
Queer.
movie
He was so
better.
good in Queer.
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman, one of the greatest actors. Ike Barinholtz as Elon Musk is such like
I
he's
love that
lightning in a bottle
casting.
casting. It's just so smart. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
like
think
I
yeah.
mean,
And
immediately
especially
it's
Doug
like,
and I have been
okay, yeah,
talking about him so much with the studio where it's like he's such a standout in the studio that it's
yeah.
like I kind of already liked him
sure.
and like various comedic roles or whatever, but watching him in the studio, I'm like, man, this guy is good. Like
No, I'm
he's
so
awesome.
so endlessly fascinated by this project. I think this movie has so much potential to be like something that will last forever culturally. I'm really interested. Like
Yeah.
because these are
I'm
like
also
some of these
interested
most
in
important people in the entire world today that this movie is about. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm also interested in the Cooper Coach casting because this is a guy who like means nothing to us, but like was a big like he was all over awards carpets for that monster show and
Yeah,
like is
oh
a
well,
yeah.
is a kind of like
yeah, it's
rising star, but hasn't been
he
in
wanted
much yet. So I wonder.
he wanted to do the American Psycho movie, right? I know he was
I
kind of
think so.
campaigning
I
for
think he
that
might have
almost.
been.
And I mean,
Yeah,
Luca likes to work with guys more than one. I don't know. It's like a thing because I didn't like the Austin Butler stuff. Like, stop. That's like a not really happening anymore. What's the deal with that? We know what's going on
oh,
with
I
I
that.
don't
don't think
know
there's
if
been
I
an update.
have.
I think that movie's on
Yeah,
pause while he's working on
That's
this.
what I'm saying, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like
yeah.
we could get a
It seems like artificial has like taken
yeah,
the
yeah. So I
this is
this
the
could
one
be
that we
a
know is happening.
oh, but it's also it's a good opportunity to because it's a guy that exists in the current space and that I'm not too familiar with. I think I saw him in They Slash Them, but I don't remember anything in that movie. So
I can't believe you watched that movie.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I
But
know
yeah, it's like
people
for
are
us, he's
weird,
like
kind of
kind
weird
of
about him online.
irrelevant,
So
but
I don't
he's
really know what the deal is. But yeah, if
yeah,
he's good in this movie, he's good in this movie, and I'll
yeah. We'll
continue
see.
from there and see where my
Speaking
allegiance
of
lies.
Civil War, our next piece of
Oh
news,
shit!
Kaylee Spaney is in talks to reunite with
uh,
director Alex
talk
Garland for
about using
A24's
guys over
Elden Ring
again.
movie alongside Kit
Who the
Connor.
fuck
Isn't
is
this like the
Kaylee Swaney
fourth
gonna
the
play in?
fourth who is anybody who what the fuck is this movie gonna be about? What do you mean who's she gonna who the fuck is that? I need, what are the events that are going to happen in this
Kaylee
movie
Spaney's
going to
gonna
be?
play one of the bosses.
Like what are there going to be bosses? What is this what the fuck is this movie? Yeah, no, I don't know. Isn't this like the
Oh
fourth Alex
man,
Garland thing she's in or something?
yeah, they
No,
got a
is it?
duo. Yeah, she's in a TV show, right?
Yeah, she was in Devs too, right?
Oh, well, what would be the other one then?
I guess
Isn't it
it's the
just
third
Civil?
one then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
there's a
still,
clear. Yeah, Alice
Well, they
Garland has
fuck
a
with each other,
team.
Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah, um, this. Yeah, I don't know. This is a movie that or I'm gonna look back on.
you are.
Yeah, what's this one? That, I was thinking about Megalopolis a couple days ago, or sometime. And I was like, it's very interesting because we had these long. Is Doug frozen for you? We had this
Yeah,
long
he
kind
is.
of series of like we would speculate what Megalopolis was about for like a long time in the podcast. And
Right.
if I'm thinking this way with Elden Ring, where like we're having these series of like conversations
Yeah.
about what the hell is this movie going to be about? What is it going to look like? And I'm kind of looking towards the future of like being in that
Yeah, the day that trailer
the
drops is
post
gonna
Elden
be
Ring world, right, where we know exactly what that movie is very interesting to think about.
yeah.
Because we are in the pre Elden Ring Alice Garland movie, and we have no idea what the fuck is going on. So,
Yeah. No,
all right,
oh,
good night.
we've lost Douglas. We'll see if he returns. We only have a couple pieces of
Yeah, we'll
news.
probably
Our next piece of news,
yes.
assuming that Doug jumps in, maybe. Taylor Russell, speaking of people exiting, Taylor Russell
Mhm.
has exited Michael B. Jordan's The Thomas Crown Affair over
Yes.
creative differences and was
Huge flip.
quickly replaced by Adria
Very quickly.
Arjona.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in other news, Taylor Russell was confirmed to be starring opposite David Johnson in Frank Ocean's
Yes,
directorial debut.
these are all true
So,
things. I yeah, interesting creative differences on that. We're gonna welcome Doug back in here.
oh, we're going to welcome
Um
Doug back. Doug, just to repeat the news, we're
okay.
talking about how Taylor Russell has exited Michael B. Jordan's The Thomas Crown Affair over creative differences, was replaced by Adria Arjona, and now is confirmed to be starring opposite David Johnson in Frank Ocean's directorial debut. Uh,
Yeah, but what I was gonna say, I Taylor Russell's interesting because um obviously there's like still time, but it did feel like she was gonna be in a lot more. And it still feels like she has that kind of name value in the space that she's in these getting these roles and stuff. but I'm interested to see more from her because it kind of felt like Bones and all happened, and they were like, okay, what's she gonna do next? And then like some years have passed. But I don't know what the
How
how
many years
creative
though?
different, but Adria
Yeah, I wonder
Arjona
what the creative differences
Adria
are. I
Arjona
wouldn't
also is
really want to
such a
pry.
moment that like it almost is kind of a you could see this as a win or a banner replacement, not even from an acting perspective, but in terms of like a name value. People really like her a lot. People really like online and stuff. She's like a big. They want her to do all these
Yeah, I mean, she
movies, and
was
they
in
play about
Andor,
the
bro. It was like
plot.
she's
That
like in
movie,
Star Wars and shit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if
like
the
he
Thomas
like
Crown Affair is going to be a big movie,
yeah,
this
yeah,
certainly helps it get bigger.
yeah. It does, it does. Even
But
though even though
yeah,
I
if they
really like
do want
Taylor
to do
Russell, I
this
think in
movie,
terms of like I think Adrian Arjona at this point has a bigger name value. I think I
yeah,
watched. I said it was a clip on the Escape Pod podcast. I texted him because they someone I think it was I forget who it was, but they were on there. They mentioned Taylor Russell, and they didn't know, they forgot who she was, and that was like very funny. But I think that's the thing where she's not. I mean, Bones don't happen, but like people know her, of course. But Adrian Arjona is
yeah.
like people really know her.
It's almost like
Uh,
more people. There's a number of these people, but it's almost like more people like know them on the internet as like just celebrities than they do for like
yeah,
actually
yeah,
seeing them in their roles. You know, like I don't know how many fucking million Instagram followers Taylor Russell has, but I imagine it's millions of people, and I imagine like more people are aware of her than watch something like Bones and all.
sure. Well,
Um,
yeah, she was dating Harry
so,
Styles.
yeah,
Yeah,
I guess that did happen.
I don't
Huh.
know if they're still together, but
Anyway,
there's a weird. I mean,
I do, and
with Adrian Arjona, there was also a weird thing with like fan cast culture where they
Wonder
will like
Woman.
no, well, they'll
yeah.
go like in the depths of like they'll find like an actor that is in absolutely nothing, right? And they'll be like, but they look sort of similar. So then like that guy will be kind of come popular in like weird like cast spaces, and they're like not like they're like some like no name actor, but people are like, oh, this guy should be fucking Batman. It's like, bro, who is this
Right.
guy? And it's like this guy that you guys have randomly collectively found that you're like, he looks sort of like Batman, and he's like, can he act? But yeah,
Yeah. Who
Adrian
knows?
Arjona, see her a lot on my Twitter because they want to be Wonder Woman, but she is great in
Yeah.
Hitman. I think she's a good actress. So
Although maybe a step down for Taylor Russell, assuming unless Frank Ocean's directorial debut is better than a Michael B. Jordan
The
movie,
Frank Ocean movie
which
is
would
going to be
be
a big deal.
yeah,
yeah,
I think
sure. I'm
it's
sure it'll be
still
a big
yeah.
deal.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I also like love David as well. So
Yeah, David
there's
Johnson's
worse
awesome.
things you could have decided to do. I think, but I
Yeah.
mean, it could be really bad. Who knows?
Yeah, you could decide to be Wonder
Here's
Woman. That would be a worse thing.
yeah,
Taylor
that's
Russell's Wonder
that's
Woman.
true.
She's like 5'1", I think.
Camera
Maybe not.
angles.
This next
I actually don't know how tall she is.
no, I don't know. This next
That's
piece of news is like real big, like our podcast news. I feel like
5'5".
um Elle and Dakota Fanning are going to star in and produce the film adaptation of the Nightingale movie, the Kristen Hanna novel. The first time I believe that them two are going to be in a movie together.
Oh
Uh,
wow, yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy.
I could
Hmm.
be wrong about that, but I'm gonna you guys let me know what you think, and I'm gonna fact check this.
That's cool. I
I just looked up.
love Elle Fanning. Yeah, no, that's cool.
I looked. I looked up how it's Dakota Johnson and Elle Fanning been in a movie together.
Well, I'm on the IMDb collaboration check. It looks like they were in. I don't know what. Do you guys know what I Am Sam is?
Oh, I
No.
Am Sam. It's my favorite movie.
Okay. I
It's a,
guess it says that they were
Sean
both
Penn
in
plays a mentally challenged
that.
father. That's what it says on the
It also says
movie.
they were both in My Neighbor Totoro, so maybe they did voice acting for the
Oh yeah, well
English
they do the
dub
yeah,
together.
and also
Huh.
says Charlotte's
Okay.
Web here.
I don't think they were in that
Why
together.
is Google
I'm not
lying to
seeing
me?
that on the IMDb collaboration search. I'm not.
Actually,
What is
Owen,
I Am
when we
Sam?
cross-reference the IMDb collaboration,
Oh my god. Is Elle
What
Fanning
is this
not in
movie?
Charlotte's
Sean
Web?
Penn is in this movie as Sam.
That's what I said. I said Sean Penn plays the mentally challenged father. That's what Wikipedia said.
Okay, let's see.
no, I love
Um,
Elle Fanning, and Dakota Fanning is very good in all things she's in.
yeah, I will say, based on my other limited research, this movie will be directed by Michael Morris, who you guys won't know by name. He directed, remember the To Leslie controversy during the Oscars when out of
Oh, the
nowhere,
director of To
uh,
Leslie.
Andrea Riseborough was like nominated for Best Actress out of nowhere. He directed that movie, and he also directed the newest Bridget Jones movie, Mad About the Boy, the one that just came out this year. So that's the person directing this movie. But cool that they're going to be in a
It's
movie
saying
together.
Elle Fanning got cut out of Charlotte's Web. She did not make the final cut of Charlotte's Web.
Oh, damn, Dakota. Okay. Next piece of news. Naomi Aki is the top choice for the female lead in Clayface.
Huge.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
saw this. I
sick.
was like, "That's really big," because the guy is kind of an unknown guy, so we don't really know what's gonna be there. But if Clayface is Clayface, then it's like opposite. There's a real actress there to kind of act to a Clayface.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great in
Yeah.
Mickey 17. I think.
She's really in a lot of stuff right now. It's kind of awesome. Like she's
Yeah,
in Sorry Baby as well. She she was in Blink Twice last year, which like
yeah. No,
not the
but
best
she's good in
movie, but
that
that movie
movie.
a lot of people saw that movie.
I forgot that was
Um
her in Blink Twice.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. She's getting cast in a lot
No,
right now.
she's very talented. She's
Uh
very talented. Mickey
Yeah, and
17 was
we
such a
all
triumph.
three of us like her a
Yeah.
lot, so it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of awesome to see that she's like this much in the spotlight right now.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things
Um,
where it's like I feel like once Bong Joon-ho kind of picks you to be in his movie too, I think it really does signal something. And it's like
sure.
English language films because like he could cast literally anybody in the um
Yeah, and they would say,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. Uh, Margot Robbie is rumored to produce and star in Tim Burton's Attack of the 50-Foot Woman remake at Warner Bros.
Bro, fuck Tim Burton, bro. No, that's cool though. This is cool.
Yeah,
I-
I would. Well, I think we talked about this a while back. I think it's always kind of been speculated that it's going to be like one of the people that he's already worked with, like uh, a Jenna Ortega or something like that. But I think this is really, I think it's a big get for Tim. And I'm excited to see where this goes because I think it's a very interesting decision for Margot Robbie.
This is
Bizarre
when are we
kind
gonna
of.
get a Barbarella update? Like,
Well, yeah, what's going on with that?
what the
But I
fuck?
think yeah. Well, Sydney Sweeney's busy
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, she's busy
Uh,
with all these fucking cringe ass garbage lowbrow ad
oh
I don't
my
know what
campaigns.
god,
she's up to. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on there.
Doug, what did you think about the jeans ad?
I had such I actually don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get canceled if I talk about what I think about Sydney Sweeney's personal brand because it's like I don't know what the
Okay.
fuck she's doing, bro. It's like, 'cause it really is like real, like
Yeah,
between this and the Dr. Squatch, and she really is like leaning into like this like low, like just like appealing to like lowbrow,
Yeah,
lowest common denominator, like young man in America. And
yeah,
it's like,
no,
you
yeah,
don't
it's
have to
she,
do all that, bro. I don't know.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
confusing. It's confusing to watch. It's like painful to watch even. I'm like I really don't like. I saw that ad this morning because I was like I think I saw somebody tweet about it yesterday and then I finally like
Oh,
clicked the
it's been
video this morning and I'm like
everywhere.
Jesus. It's like Jesus Christ.
All these controversies.
Um, speaking of Tim Burton also Wednesday was renewed for
Oh
season
yeah,
3.
true. I
I
saw
didn't
that.
include that in the news, but it did get well I guess now it's included in the news
Yeah,
since I said
he's
it.
having a
But
little bit of a moment.
um
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
mean
Uh
Beetlejuice and whatnot.
yeah, pretty big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um Okay, last piece of news here. George Mackay will star opposite Daisy Edgar Jones in Georgia Oakley's adaptation of Sense and Sensibility.
How do you say it, Mackay? Mackay.
So I've been confused by this pronunciation for a while. When I looked it up again today, because I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
say
You gotta
McKay,
prepared. Yeah.
but what I saw today was that, and I people listening to the podcast could correct me if I'm wrong. I think George McKay is the American pronunciation, but he is English,
So
and so
he
they
says
say
Mackay.
George Mackay.
Gotcha.
And so I figured I would use the English pronunciation
Did you
because,
guys see
like, out
the
of
Beast?
respect. But I guess yeah,
He's so good in that
he's great.
movie.
He's very good in it. No, he's like, I mean, he's an unbelievable actor. And this gets me excited because I was already excited for like the Daisy Edgar Jones Sense and Sensibility movie, but now she's like going to be opposite, like like a great
Yeah.
actor. I'm like really interested in this movie. I really want to see this Sense and Sensibility movie. And I mentioned when we talked, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about how I like Georgia Oakley's debut. I think this will be good. I think this is cool. Um, anyway, that's our last piece of news. Uh, Next week, episode 128, we're going to be talking about Together and maybe also The Naked Gun. We'll see what happens, but that's the plan for next week, and we'll see you later. Bye.